Looks like Intel has not quite given up yet, folks. We thought they were scrapping the Celestial, it was supposed to be the follow-up after Arc Battlemage, and we thought they were going to scrap the whole Battlemage product after the B580 and B570, but it looks like they're still alive and kicking. Let's get into the details. Hi everyone, I'm Barlock Tech back again with more tech news on this beautiful day. Some more news just rushing around in the last week or so, and recently we had a discussion about the rumored 24 gig high-end Arc Battlemage that Intel was in the process of making, one of their partners, aka Sparkle, and now we thought they were giving up and scrapping the Battlemage project, and even considering the Celestial one, which is supposed to be the follow-up after the Battlemage for more, on different chips and higher frequencies and all the other good stuff. Now, we all know that the B580 and B570 both had 12 gigs of VRAM. But the downside to especially the B580, which was the biggest of the popularity between the two, is that it was really good and cheap for a 1440p video card. But then there was a caveat to that, and the caveat in that case, if you all remember, was it didn't use the full by 16 PCIe 5 speed, which kind of like gimped it in a lot of the games. Some games it still was decent, but it gimped it a lot of games and caused other problems like for older hardware and stuff like that. And then just like that, the popularity of B580 just went down the drain, and no one didn't want to hear about them anymore. However, it looks like Intel said, you know what? We got a new CEO in place now. We get our stuff back together. CEO has a new vision. The new CEO has a new vision. So let's get back on the bandwagon. And sure enough, it looks like they have. Because now there's talk that they're already in the validating process of making a Battlemage B770. Now, if you remember when ARC first released, there was the B770, not B770, the A770 was their higher end of the releases when ARC first came out, which is their first attempt or the first generation Battlemage. And now it looks like they're going to try to do that again to just improve upon the 12 gig B580. And now they're doing a B770, which is supposed to be, as we expected, a higher end B580. Unfortunately, from what the articles are saying on WCCF Tech and others, is that according to Intel, unfortunately, it's not going to be the 24 gigs that we see Sparkle is already making. I don't know what they're going to call that. Maybe that's going to be a Celestial. We don't know anything about what Sparkle is going to call it. But it's better than nothing because they're finally going on a 16 gigabyte VRAM train. Just how AMD made that standard, and now everyone had to follow suit. So now Intel is going to, we thought it was going to be like a more tweaked 12 gig VRAM like the B580, but they're adding 4 extra gigs of VRAM according to what Arco's been saying and what I've been seeing on the internet research-wise. So they're going to push the 16 gig. It's supposed to have higher clocks than the B580 by leaps and bounds, like hundreds of megahertz higher. And it's supposed to pull a little bit more wattage, probably about 10 to 20 more watts than the B580 or the most high-end B580. So that's pretty much what the vague specs they gave so far. No full details about the inputs or the video inputs or whatnot. But if this comes up to be true and they actually do the 16 gig, hey, a lot of us would be thankful for that. If the price is as good as they did the B580, with just a slightly higher upcharge because it's 4 extra gigs of VRAM, then they might give NVIDIA and AMD a run for their money on the lower to mid-range. Because according to Intel, they're aimed this first and foremost on the 5060 series, which we all know was like is incoming from NVIDIA, but nobody's expecting much being like how the 50 series launch was kind of like a mess or a paper launch per se. So a lot of people didn't really like the 5060 or were excited about the 5060 or 5060 Ti for the most part, because all the bigger brothers, all the 50 series were kind of disappointments for the most part. But Intel said in the article they're aiming specifically at the 5060 series and on, again, the second-hand challenge of the AMD mid to low end, which in this case would be the 9060 and 9060 XT. That's still incoming sometime this month or next month. But if no one can fix the stock with the manufacturers or whatever, I'm sure it's going to be the same mess that we did with the 50 series and how you can't get 90 series anywhere anyhow now because stock was so underwhelming because they weren't expecting the amount of popularity again, according to them, but I'm not buying it. But we'll see how the stock holds up. But they're charging both Intel and both NVIDIA and AMD for their mid-range 9060 and 5060 series. So if they do it right and make a high-end thing with 16 gigs of RAM, like they're saying in the article, and it performs better and it doesn't have no x8 gimping like it had for the B550, the smaller brother, then they may have a winner on their hands. No further details, no release date, no other vague details they give us besides what I mentioned. But let me know in the comments below if you're looking forward to this. Are you excited to see Intel back on the bandwagon on challenging having a third person in the GPU space? Or do you think it's just whatever? I don't care. The market is crap anyway. Let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is Barry Tech signing out.